I was actually surprised Chad Johnson didn't make his way back to Calgary because he did have some success with the Calgary Flames, and they're looking for a goaltender. Mike Smith is still on IR.
Ooh. Oh, I'm looking for the world-traveling, sensational representative of North America who seemingly can't stay at home and has to spread his knowledge and humor around the world. Of course, I'm talking about Joe Bartnick.
Hey!
Hey, what's happening, Mike? That's so nice of you. How you guys doing up there?
Why are you traveling to these places? What's going on? You have your schedules unbelievable.
He's an Olympian. Come on.
And you go to Pyeongchang, because that's apparently how you say it. And what did you see over there? Like, what was the emphasis in going over to the Winter Olympics for you?
Well, I wanted to see all the players that can't make the NHL play hockey.
You could have looked out your window and seen that. That's a long way to go. So, did you enjoy that tournament?
Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I lost you for a second.
Yeah, no, but did you enjoy the tournament? Was it worth the trip?
Oh, it was fabulous. It was really a lot of fun, and it was fun to see all the Russian fans were going nuts. And it's like, it really doesn't count, right?
Yeah, that's spoken like a true North American. It's like, geez, do you feel bad that Canada lost? Canada didn't lose. That wasn't Canada. That's not Canada. Yeah, because go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, what really made me mad, though, was just like I really didn't want the Russians to win because it's like the three guys that led their team were the three guys that really stuck the middle finger to the NHL, You had Kovalchuk, who just left the Devils high and dry, even though I think it probably helped the Devils. And then you had the witch, Pavel Datsyuk, who definitely screwed the Red Wings. And then you had Voynov, who basically tried to kill his wife and then left the country. So it was just like the ultimate stick in the eye of the NHL.
No, it's true. Hey, Joe, when we were watching these games, we seen a lot of empty seats. Are we seeing the truth, or was it pretty easy getting a ticket, or how did that work for you?
It was hard to get tickets, but the problem was just getting to that arena was insane. It was like, Pyeongchang is in the middle of nowhere in Korea. Like Seoul is like New York City, and then the rest of Korea is like New Jersey filled with Koreans. It's just really ugly and hard to get to.
No. Yeah. So what are we talking? What's the equivalent price? I mean, I don't believe you're fluent in Korean. Like, so how are you getting by over there? How do you know how much something costs? How do you know that you didn't pay the equivalent of maybe what a house is to go and see one of these games?
Well, the hockey tickets I got through some emissaries, if that's the word. So the hockey tickets, but everything else was super expensive. It was like $800 to watch speed skating. I'm like, is Sinatra speed skating? What's going on?
Oh, that's I got to tell you, because I mean, for the most part, Canadians keep sort of one eye on what's going on at like the equivalent of 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, and they're into it until the game goes south a little bit. They're like, yeah, well, they're not our best, so let's go to work now. And of course, now they're sitting there watching. Of course, certainly in this country, specifically in Canada, where trade deadline day is like just after probably July 4th or in between Christmas somewhere. All of a sudden, this has been made into this big day. And I got to be honest. I mean, it really isn't. Dave and I have had to do this for years and years and years. And I just, I don't know. There were some surprises, but for you, as you're taking a look at trade deadline, as if you're all, sort of not jet lagged and everything else, what did you make of yesterday and some of the moves made?
Personally, as a Penguin fan, I think we got worse. That's my number one stance over the weekend. Taking nothing away from Jim Rutherford, who has been just, in Jim we trust. I did not like the Penguin moves, what they did. Everything else, I really liked Vegas getting Tatar and Reeves. I know people think they paid a lot for Tatar, but it's time to go for it right now. When I look at the Pacific, I'm like, I think that the Vegas Knights should be in the Western Conference Finals. I loved what Winnipeg did, and then in the Central, it's an arms race. You got Nashville versus the Winnipeg Jets, who I think just stole Stastny. I can't believe the Bluesers gave up. I mean, really, you're this close, and you're going to get. I guess they don't need home. I guess they don't need 3 home gates, to lose in the first round. I don't understand that move. Nash to Boston. I don't know. I think Spooner was a good player. I don't see Nash turning the tide in Boston. What do you guys think?
You know what? Going back to your Pittsburgh scenario, I'll more of a statement than anything. I like the Brassard pickup. I think he'll play really well in the third line. The pressure's off him. In Ottawa, he was playing first-line minutes. But the thing I don't like, agree or disagree, Ryan Reeves was a big part of this team, even though he was such a smaller player compared to some of the stars on that team. And I think the dressing room really, really liked him, Joe. I don't like Ryan Reeves leaving this organization.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look, I watch every single game. The amount of, face washes and just extracurricular activity that Sid has put up with for the last 13 years went away like a sham wow. Reeves came in and just wiped all of that away. And even if you say, okay, he's not going to play in the playoffs, you need him in the last 20 games, you're going into Philly, you're going into Washington. But I can even live with that for your salary cap implications to bring in Brassard. I did not like losing Cole at all. Now, I know he's not Larry Robinson, but have you ever seen Matt Hunwick play defense? The guy has his compete level is a -30. He's scared to go in the corner. It's like he has to bring a guide dog to find the corner. And I think it's an absolute disgrace to go into the playoffs with him. I was watching Christian Ehrhoff in the Olympics had more grit than Matt Hunwick. I mean, are you kidding me?
We're in conversation with our good friend Joe Bartnick here on Raw Mike Richards and those watching live on the YouTube channel. Joe, just kind of taking a look here in Toronto. JVR is one of our favorites. I mean, we got to know him well. We've seen him at practice. He's been on the show a couple of times, but he's one of those guys that I think a lot of Leaf fans and those like myself who thought, I would think other teams would find him really attractive. And considering what Vegas gave up for Tatar, I thought, okay, well, maybe, there might be a move because I think a lot of teams would be very interested in James Van Riemsdyk.
Well, I think the whole point of that, Mike, is sort of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, I don't think you give away his 30 goals. I think the Maple Leafs are going to go for it this year. Why not? I mean, I really don't think Tampa made themselves that. Everyone's making a big deal about they got McDonough. Let me tell you, the Penguins own McDonough. Fast teams own McDonough. And then they lost Domestikov. I mean, that's one of the best lines in hockey. They just broke that up. I'm a JT Miller fan. He's from Pittsburgh, but I don't see how Tampa Bay put themselves over the top. I don't see how Boston put themselves over the top. And then they got Plekanec to fill in for Dominic Moore, and they get Austin Matthews back. They're right there. The Maple Leafs are right there. I wouldn't have given up JVR for the future. The future is now.
Interesting enough, Joe, Mike Green doesn't get dealt. There's got to be an injury issue there if he's not dealt. That guy was supposed to be the first guy off the board. He doesn't move from Detroit. I'm kind of surprised by this, unless we're about to hear a press conference this afternoon saying that he's out for the remainder of the season. How Mike Green wasn't dealt from the Red Wings is kind of a mystery to me.
Yeah, I was shocked about that too. I really have no answers for that, Dave. Yeah. I was in the air and he wasn't moved. I'm like, wow, he's still there. I know some Red Wings fans that are happy.
Oh, geez, Joe. I was hoping.
How about Washington?
Yeah, go ahead.
Didn't do anything.
No,
Washington didn't do anything.
You know what? Washington's one of those teams that have fallen into a category for me, like I used to think about the Atlanta Braves. When they had that pitching staff that every year there they go until they win it or do what I'm just it's a bit of a pass for me. I take a look at that team and I don't care what their regular season record is, and they're in almost like this weird holding your breath with what they've got, because at some point I think that thing collapses like a house of cards.
It's one of those things, Mike, where I think just every time you think it's over, that's when the team rises up. It seems like and Ovi's still on the top of his game. If they ever get anything from Kuznetsov in the playoffs, you never know. You just never know. And I mean, I would have taken a flyer on Mike Green because
right.
He could add something to their power play. I mean, just do nothing. I think you have to do something just to make people think you care.
Joe, I hate to be the bearer of bad news right now for you, but we're getting an update out of Pittsburgh that Matt Murray has been diagnosed with a concussion and is out indefinitely for the Penguins. He does not make the start against the Devils this evening, and they're not sure when he actually takes to the ice next for the Penguins. Your level of concern, 1 to 10, 10 being very concerned.
10. You have to be. I mean, this is Sidney Crosby country. Concussions are not like, oh, he's doing to take 2 aspirin. We lost Sid for almost 2 years. When I hear concussions, that's why I'm so against headshots in the game. It's just, it's like you never know what you can do to someone's career and their life. But, it's interesting because everyone in Pittsburgh thought it was just, no one thought it was a concussion because they sent down Jari, who obviously didn't look good the other night, but they brought up Casey DeSmith. So everyone just thought that, he got hit in the head in practice with a puck. Who's shooting high on Murray? Come on, it's March. What are you doing?
Yeah,
exactly.
I never trusted my players either. I didn't. A bunch of bozos. I'd skate if there was pregame warm up and some guy even got close to my head. I'd skate off. Gotta have to go in the dressing room and apologize to me, and then I'd come out. Not that I was a diva, but I kind of was. Hey, considering the proximity of Vegas to where you are, have you been to a Golden Knights home game yet?
I have not been to one yet. I was hoping to make it, but then I've just been traveling so much. But I hear it's just amazing. Now, it's funny because the Kings now have a huge rivalry with Vegas. The Kings have a rivalry with everybody. They never get a night off. But the Kings won last night, which I was stoked about. Dusty in overtime, which was nice. You already saw Reeves working out for Vegas because Kyle Clifford. That nobody. He kind of bumped someone the wrong way, and Reeves went over. And I think Clifford would get his hands and knees and apologize.
No,
it's pretty funny.
No, considering where you just came from in Korea and you stopped off you stopped off in China before you came home. Is this what I understand?
No, I actually had a direct flight.
Oh, okay.
My first flight, my flight there it stopped in China.
Now, did you get up at Club Chuckles or something there? Did you do 5 minutes for the folks? What did you do over there?
Oh, I don't leave I just go from the gate to the gate and just read books. I don't go anywhere. I can't read anything in those countries. How I can't tell if the place is selling fireworks or hand jobs or it's a nail salon or.
Yeah, you got to be careful what you ask for, right? I mean, you say, "What's for dessert?" Oh, dessert. No. So who'd you travel with? Who'd you go with over there?
Two great friends of mine, the Gonzalez brothers, and they're big donors into the U.S. Olympic Committee. So we had some perks and stuff like that. And Joe, my wife is convinced is in the CIA. He can navigate around Korea. So,
well, that is awesome. Great, always to hear from you. I'm glad you're safe coming back. You go to these big international events. You always wish for safety now for anyone who goes there. I imagine. So, what was it like security wise? It must have been nuts. It must have been crazy.
It was actually pretty chill. It wasn't so bad. I mean, it's harder getting into the airport than it was to get anywhere in Korea.
Yeah.
I think once you're there, you're there. That's what my mom was like. Aren't you nervous? I'm like, Mom, they know who the terrorists are over there. they can figure it out.
Yeah. Well, hey, Joe, I'm glad you're here to join us. Thank you for getting up relatively early your time to join us. Yeah, Dave's got something else.
Hey, Joe, any tour dates coming up in Toronto or anything we should be looking out this summer, or is that just kind of too far in advance?
I've been trying to get back to Canada. Well, actually, I'm going to be in Kitchener on March 17th, St. Patrick's Day with Bill Burr.
Oh my God, that's huge. That's fantastic.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Any chance of coming into Toronto during that day, or is it just kind of a one-off?
I'm going to be in Toronto for like a day. I'm going to be in Toronto for a day.
Okay, well, we'll talk.
Yeah,
maybe we see Joe in person once again, because it's always an open invite.
We'll get you an invite to one of those fireworks hand job places, because we have those too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hey, Joe, you take care. We'll cross our fingers. Be safe, and we'll talk to you real soon, my friend.
Thanks, buddy.
Oh, you guys are the best. Thanks for having me.
There's Joe Bartnick. Wow, him and Bill Burr in Kitchener on St. Patrick's Day. What, are you kidding me?
Wow.
What? Did we just become best friends?
Yep.